I've been hyper excited to do this sit down today for the past, it's been about a month that we're trying to put this together. I constantly preach development of the youth and empowering of the youth. So that's been a part of our company's success for many, many years. We run cadetship programs and we love working with underprivileged kids. I've never met someone that shares that passion as much as I do and is literally, guys, if you believe that the youth is our future, the ultimate sacrifice is risking your life. I've got a gentleman to my left that will literally risk his life for the youth. I'm going to start with Mr. Johnny Berger. He's to my far left. He's the chairman of the SA Hall of Fame. I want him to tell his story real quick, and then we're just going to get into probably one of the most selfless acts. For me, it's to the power of 10. I'm not a good swimmer. You're about to find out the challenge that lies ahead as a selfless act to empower youth, underprivileged youth. But we'll get into that in a moment, because that's the meat and potatoes of the conversation. But Mr. Johnny, I loved what you said earlier. You know, we came forward and we said, sir, this is the reason, you are the reason why we are here. And you said, no, God's the reason why we're here. Please, let's kick it off with you. And then we're going to go to the hero without a cape here to my direct left.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I want to start off with a slogan. It says, memories are the keys not to the past, but to the future. The experiences of our lives, when we allow God to use them, will become the ultimate plan for the work He has called us to do. Why I'm saying that, I want to tell you quickly about this little boy that grew up with me. At the age of 6, since he could remember, his mother and father were complete alcoholics, complete. 7 days a week, he used to throw blankets over them wherever they passed out. Father was aggressive when he drank. One day he asked his dad asked this little boy to throw him a brandy and coke, and as he walked to his dad, he was scared and he spilled some of this brandy, and his father kicked him through a glass sliding door. Mother and father divorced. Father then, under the influence, killed a pedestrian. They locked him up in jail, and after 10 days they found out that he had brain damage, and he passed away the next day.
In jail?
In hospital.
In hospital.
Mother then decided that she didn't want this little boy, and she left him. One advantage this boy had, he was extremely gifted with sport. He was a talented little rugby player, cricket player, athlete. But he grew up without any hope. Hope's a wonderful thing. We cannot explain what he does, but we all know how it feels. And every rugby game, the fathers halftime ran onto the field and to tell their boys how to play and how well they did. And this boy stood there with a half orange and a polystyrene cup of water, and he had no hope, but he had talent. By the grace of God, he made it, and after school, he had extreme rejection issues, and there's 3 things that he could have done that he did extremely well. He could fight, he could drink brandy like his father did, and he could play rugby. He was in a bar fight, and his jugular vein was cut off by a bottle. In hospital, the doctor said to him, he lost too much blood, he's not going to make it. Miraculously, 3 days later, he woke up in ICU with a Sunday Times headline on his lap, and this boy then decided he cannot carry on like this. He's got to make something of his life. Married his high school love. High school love said to him, I'll marry you on one condition, if you allow me to grow your potential. And that little boy sitting here.
Unbelievable.
That's my story. And I started off with memories are the keys not to the past but to the future. If I can have it over 1,000 times, I will, because God is using me as an instrument to create opportunities for talented children in South Africa that have no hope. The South African Hall of Fame has got 3 core ideologies. We celebrate great achievements by extraordinary South Africans, and we've done a host of inductions, from Nelson Mandela to the 95 Springboks to Gary Player. Why do we celebrate great achievements? In order to inspire our youth and then to empower them to holistically reach their full potential. And holistic means body, mind, and soul. We believe that character supersedes talent. All those kids that we're giving bursaries at this stage, will they all become Springboks? Definitely not. But they will become Springbok fathers, Springbok husbands to their wives, Springbok citizens. And that's why we chose Boys High, purely for that reason. It's a school with great character, it's a school with great traditions. And we see phenomenal results. I mean, you must see how these boys are doing. I mean, if you take the under 14 side 2 years ago at Boys High was number 66 in the country. Last year they were number 10 in the country.
Wow.
So
In 1 year.
In 1 year. Because of kids that's got talent but no hope. And we are giving those kids full scholarships, full bursaries. We pay their medical, we pay their sport apparel, we pay their school fees, their boarding school fees. And so it's a calling, it's not a job, it's a calling for me, and I'm extremely grateful that we're in a position and that whatever happened to me in my life, that it happened, because that opened the door for me to change the landscape of our future generation. We strongly believe that we will change the future of this country, coming from the roots of the South African Hall of Fame.
I agree.
Nothing succeeds like success. God said it, I believed it, and that settles it. We don't have to negotiate further. And we're gonna have this little Simpiwe, where one of those boys, he's got no legs, he's got one arm with 2 fingers. He's 14 years old, he just broke the under 1700 and 200 meter record.
So sorry to interrupt you, sir. We spoke about him off camera before we started recording. In my mind, he's 17, because you said to me that he broke the under 17 record. You just said that he's 14.
Yeah.
Can you please tell us the story on camera, because it's
so,
really heartfelt.
Interesting, at the age of 6, his mother dropped him off at hospital, and she left him. He had septicism and he lost his one arm, both his legs, and on the arm that's left he's got 2 fingers. In sub B, grade 2, he failed miserably because he went to an Afrikaans primary school and he could only speak Sotho. Last year in grade 7, he was top 5 academically in his class. And last year, in grade 7, he broke the under 17 record. Nothing is too much for this boy. He plays rugby on his thumbs. Some weekends, the past weekend, he stayed with me, and he's doing back somersaults on the trampoline. He's just a incredible human being. This boy is going to win a gold at the Olympics. But he needed hope. He needed an opportunity. He lives with his grandmother in Wesselsbron in a shack. And we had to give this boy an opportunity to just get that spirit of excellence. Nothing's ever going to get him down. Now, this boy is going to become world renowned because of an organization that believes in him. Organization that's giving him hope. And I always say, and I say it with tongue in cheek, we complain about a lot of things in this country. We've got a responsibility. And what's a responsibility? A responsibility is the ability to choose your response under any given set of circumstances. It's our responsibility.
I love that.
To make a difference. It's our responsibility to invest in our future generation. This is a generational thing. And if we start now, we're going to do it right. And if that's the story.
How did we find out about Simpiwe?
Well, I played provincial rugby for the Griffins, Old Northern Free State, and obviously a guy in Welkom called me and he says, "Johnny, you've got to meet this boy." And I then contacted his teacher, which is also one of his, it's like a mother to him, Lizelle, who's giving school at Wesselsbron, and I drove through and I went to meet this little boy, and there I just fell in love with his spirit. And I decided we're going to give him an opportunity, together with 37 other kids.
Unbelievable. That is, I've got tears in my eyes, because all that little boy needed was hope. Just someone to to reassure him that whatever happened to you happened for you. You can take that and just make it great. When life hands you lemons and you make apple juice, everybody admires you, and he's busy making apple juice.
I must tell you, last year, one of the other Form 1 kids, we interviewed his parents. They live in a shack. They haven't had a job since 2016. They have no food at home. He's a gifted little cricket player, and we gave him a bursary. And Q1, his mathematics was 8%, or his English was 8%. Q1 last year, 8%. So obviously what we do is we do extra lessons, and we do psychometric and psychological testing and holistic development. We've got a full program on that. Q3, his English was 86%.
In Q3?
In Q3, from 8% to 86%.
Wow.
So, and that's the success stories nobody knows about. That's the success stories of kids that nobody believes in them. Nobody believes that they've got any chance. And we invest time, and we invest energy, and this is the story. That guy with his English of 86%, who knows? He's going to become the Minister of Sport, he's going to become the President. God's got a plan with those kids. We're just the instruments, and we just activate on what he says for us to do.
Beautiful. Obviously, a bursary has a financial attachment to it. If we may, can we unpack what that financial attachment is? We off camera had, and young man, I think it's time to introduce you now.
Yes.
The hero without a cape, the hero with a wetsuit. So, Chris,
Yeah.
you're about to do something incredible. What is your position at the school? If we can unpack that,
Okay.
and maybe go into the financial complication of going to Boys High. I asked you off camera, what is the ROI of me going to Boys High? Why would I choose Boys High? And for me, results speak, data screams. So who have you produced at Boys High that we all know of? What are some of the talents that are out there changing the world? I didn't know of the one name. He literally changed the world. But can we unpack first your position,
Okay.
who we've produced out of Boys High, and then get into the financial, and what are we trying to achieve here by having this interview?
Okay. So my current position is Deputy Headmaster at Pretoria Boys High, one of the deputies.
In your 20s.
No, I wish I was in my 20s.
You look like you're in your 20s. This man literally has, I think he has 0.03% body fat.
Yeah.
He's got, like, I'm so freaking jealous, man.
No, I'm 37 already.
You
Yeah.
look 22.
Thank you. Just tell my wife that. So, look, I started working at Pretoria Boys High School in 2019, and my position in 2019 was the senior housemaster of Schoolhouse, the greatest boarding house in the world. And I was in charge of Schoolhouse for 4 years. And during my time there, I would say we were pretty successful, and we did things quite differently. And then when Pretoria Boys High advertised for this deputy headmaster post, I threw my name in the hat. And at the end of 2022, I was successful, and I was appointed as the deputy headmaster for 2023. And I've been in that role for 2 years, obviously just about to start my third year in this role at Pretoria Boys High. And if I may, can I just speak how this partnership, came to light?
Absolutely.
So, within the context of running the boarding establishment, I was able to sort of forge strong relationships with my schoolhouse parents and parent body. And then at the end of 2022, in November, my third daughter was born. And I received an email from a man called Michael Stopford, who's not in my boarding house, he's in one of the other boarding houses, asking if he could meet with me. And when you as a teacher receive an email from a parent shortly after you've been promoted, I thought, here we go, here's a parent who wants to tell me how to do my job. So honestly, I actually ignored the email for 3 days, and then I thought I'd better respond. And I did respond, and I said, thanks for the email. I'm happy to get together with you. And this gent took on a completely different approach. He came to see me, and he never said anything about sport. Congratulated me on my third daughter, gave us coffee. Thought, what's this oak's tactic? And we just started talking about life. And I'm one of 5 children, and he wanted to know where I grew up, and my father, what he does, and what my brothers are currently doing. So it was a wholesome chat. And I thought, geez, I quite dig this oak. And I reluctantly, but gave him my cell phone number. And so we forged this friendship, I'd say, at the end of 2022. And then 2023 started. And he would keep in contact with me regularly, and he'd sometimes pop into my office just to check up on how things are going, which was fantastic because he's quite a knowledgeable individual. And so over not too much time, but I could see he was someone quite trustworthy, and I started showing him sort of the obstacles and challenges I face within what we're wanting, what I would like to achieve for sport at Pretoria Boys High. And it really all boils down to the financials. So we have 16 sports on offer at Pretoria Boys High, and I was saying to him, like, this is what I would like to do. We need to get talented individuals in. We need more coaches, and then we need to improve facilities. And he was like, is it in that exact order? And I said, yeah, that's the order I would go with.
So talented individuals?
Talented individuals, then coaches,
Yes.
additional coaches. Because, at Pretoria Boys High, our staff or coach.
Yes.
So it's just saying to him, like, if we could get, some beef up the coaching staff, it would be great. And then facilities. Improving the infrastructure. So he quite liked that.
I love the order.
And at that point in time, I was working on a proposal for another company. Again, sort of a completely new space for the school to head. And I was actually at a braai with my brothers the Sunday before I was going to submit this proposal. And my youngest but was then working at PwC, and he read the proposal and he laughed and he said, "You're nuts, you may as well throw the thing in the braai." Because I'd asked for 350 million rand over 5 years, but explaining exactly how, when, where, and how we'd go about it. Mike Stopforth came to visit me, coincidentally, and he saw this on the desk and he said, "What's that?" And I said, "It's this proposal." And he said, "Can I read it?" And I thought, okay, read it. So he reads it, and then he says, "This is excellent." And I was like, "Sheesh, this is contrary to what my butt said." And then he said, "I've got a friend, Johnny Berger, who's the chairman of the South African Hall of Fame. Can I take it to him?" And I said, "Yeah, go for it." And a few days passed, 2 days passed, and he phoned me, and I can hear that excitement in his voice. And he's like, "My friend, are you busy?" And I'm like, "No, mate, I'm not busy." And he's like, "I've got some news for you. You're going to like it." And he rocks up with a flat white, and he says, "Johnny Berger is going to partner with you." And I was like, just I've never even asked you what you do for a living. I know nothing, because we've always been talking about sort of children and outlook on life, etc. And he said, "I can offer you 10 scholarships now and 15 coaches." And he explained exactly how we're going to go about it. And I said, "This sounds fantastic." And so we got the ball rolling. So 2023, through the South African Hall of Fame, we were able to increase our coaching staff by 15, which is massive. So there were 6 strength and conditioning coaches. We had 4 cricket pros, and then a combination of rugby coaches and hockey coaches. And that happened like quickly. I was shocked. And then we started the process of sort of partnering and talking to Cricket South Africa and the Bulls, and the idea is that we want to keep local talent local. So instead of losing all these quality boys to, let's say, the Midlands, we can keep them in Pretoria. So we awarded these 10 scholarships to 10 deserving individuals, and then 2024 kicked off. And immediately one of the boys is a top athlete, smashed every record under the sun. And then our under 14 rugby season, which Johnny's alluded to, was the most successful. So there was, I think, within an instant, an improvement. But I think what I also like to speak about is there are 15 coaches, because everyone thinks, oh, it's about the scholarship boys. If you send your son to Pretoria Boys High, all 1,500 boys will benefit because you've got the additional coaches across an array of sports currently. And it will grow and it will get bigger because people are going to get behind it and support us. So for me, it speaks to the whole school, and it's really unique and it's special. But with your 15 coaches, I think what you must also remember is that they are now receiving a salary, a monthly salary. So a lot of your external coaches come in and they receive an hourly rate.
Yes.
through the South African Hall of Fame, they've stepped in and said, here's a salary that you're going to receive over 12 months. So you can imagine as an external coach, if you're coming in the June, July 3-week holiday, that's 3 weeks where you're not, earning an income. So the ripple effect of this program it's incredible. It's influenced and improved so many people's lives. The boys, they're now 31 at the school. The 15 coaches are now 17 coaches. So, it's having a far bigger positive impact for the entire community. It's not just boys who benefit, it's not just the coaches, it's everyone. So it's beautiful.
So, you recently won an award as a non-profit, and I think you if there's a moment where you can literally brag and it put a smile on my face, please tell us about the award, because you've got all the bragging rights in the world for this. Congratulations.
Yeah, I think it all boils down to grace. I must tell you, Acquisition International is an international company. For 12 years they've been doing the Business Excellence Awards worldwide. And they just awarded us with the most trusted non-profit organisation in South Africa. And I always say to people it's about traceability and measurability.
Yes.
It's about doing the right things. BE, SED, CSI, all those funny names. It's a grudge spend. People spend it, but they hate spending it.
Yes.
It's a grudge spend.
Yes.
And we're changing the mindsets. Whilst you have to spend this money, spend it where it's traceable, spend it where it's measurable, and spend it where we're making this country a better place for our future generation. And I guess it all came together, and we're extremely grateful for the award. It's massive, massive to us. And yeah, in leaps and bounds, and when the doors will open, we will grow into more companies coming onto our books. We're not looking for sponsorships. We're looking for partnerships.
Beautiful.
And there's a massive difference. We're not a badging agency. We wanna create relationships, and collectively we wanna make a massive difference.
Beautiful. Chris, if I may, I've been in sales 20 years. Every successful church, every successful non-profit, every successful teacher is a great salesperson. One thing that is not copyable is culture. And on our first meeting, the biggest impression you left on me, outside of you literally risking your life for these boys, literally risking your life, is the type of culture that you created at the house. Can you speak on that a little bit? Because that for me is beautiful. Like some of the rituals in sales, guys, girls, it's so important. We've got the weirdest rituals at Mit-Mak. The guys that graduate from tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3, they go through certain things. Some of them I can't speak on camera. Everybody laughs, everybody loves it, and it's something that's not duplicatable. Some of your rituals, please.
Okay. So when I arrived at Schoolhouse in 2019, the house has traditionally been good at sport. The boys are competitive on a sporting front. So the first thing I had to do is try and get the boys to understand that we don't want to only be good at sport. There's you need to perform in the classroom, and then there's also a cultural component at Pretoria Boys High. And in order to win the house trophy at the end of the year, you need to be good at all three. And the mindset was like, we're just going to drill and nail sport. So there needed to be a cultural shift. And so first and foremost is you got to win your boys, over, and you got to live a certain way. And we improved to the point where, in short, at Schoolhouse, the boys understood that everything was equally important, and you needed to be good at all three. And we were winning, the academic trophy, the sport trophy, and competing on a cultural front, which means you're winning House of the Year, essentially. So it was about sort of changing the boys' mindset that it's not only important to win sport. I wanted the boys to be well-rounded men, have a platform for them to succeed or exceed. Succeed in life. But there were a lot of things you had to do along the way to change that perception. So we have house assemblies on a Thursday. So I would always invite guest speakers, like successful businessmen, women, athletes. It didn't really matter. Anyone who I thought could bring value to the boys and just challenge their thinking. And so like every Thursday, get someone in to come and speak to the boys where possible. Every Monday, I'm the master on duty, and there'd be a theme for the week. So we'd have a theme, and we'd need to live that theme for the week, and then attached to the theme would obviously be a house assembly message, which I'd get my guest speakers to relate the theme of the week to the boys.
Tie it all together.
Tie it all together.
This is hard to do.
It's hard to do because you see what happens is as teachers is our voice can sometimes become boring, let's say. And I used to believe that the only way you can really change a culture is to give the boys exposure to a number of different professionals or other people's views or opinions. So it's not just you saying it, because we essentially say the same thing.
Yes.
The discipline, resilience, etc. The other thing that for me was the crux of the success of Schoolhouse is that I wanted the boys to understand it's their house. So I said, this is your home. All right. So I said, I'll do all that I can to make your house a home away from home. And in order to do that, you need financial backing and support. So formed a good relationship with the parent body of Schoolhouse. And we actually, back then, we registered Schoolhouse as a non-profit, and we were able to do 1 or 2 fundraisers. But little but not so little things. Building the boys a soccer field. So we have a soccer field, and it's called Cloverfield. But we put up nets, and we put up floodlights. So you've enclosed this outdoor field. Then we built the boys a boma that seats 80 pupils, and it's got you can have a nice fire in the middle. Because I said to them, like, on a Friday night, I want nothing more than to have Cloverfield pumping. I want all the boys there. I want us braaiing. I want us sitting around a fire. You can be playing a guitar up there. You can be pumping music on the soccer field. I don't really care. But on a Friday night, we come together as one. And then the masters would come with their wives and their children, and you would just have this wholesome environment. So like Schoolhouse was a family, and you do the nice things, and you build an entertainment area, and you have an entertainment room, and there's pool table and table tennis. And
this was all funded through fundraisers that you did with your boys.
Yes, but okay, so here's another cool thing. Like I said to the boys, if this is your house, then you've got to give back to your house. So they set up a tuck shop within the house.
Okay.
And then what we did is we sold produce, and the idea was that what we sold and the profit that we made had to go back into the house. We had a recycling campaign or initiative, so all the funds from the recycling campaign, those funds also came back into the house. Then, in order to sort of alter the punishment system, we built a vegetable garden. It literally started out the size of this desk, and to get boys excited or pumped about growing veggies is not easy, but we did it. And
especially boys that are successful at sport. They want to kick ass on the field, not plant vegetables.
Veggies. So I said to me, like, this is our garden. We've got to grow it, we've got to nurture it, we've got to look after it. And this vegetable garden expanded to the point where we had chickens, and we were growing, cos lettuce and spinach. And the boys would sell the eggs. The prices fluctuated all the time. It depended who was selling the eggs. But I think what was pretty cool for me is we had this money that was raised.
What was the most expensive egg sold?
I think they were selling him at 20 Rand an egg.
20 Rand an egg. I need to get into contact with the parents of that. We will formally write an offer to employ that young man into our company.
So they do that. That's there's 3 eggs left, and some dad would hand 100 and say, I don't have change. It's like very cool.
Love it.
But that's the one time we had raised a fair amount of money from the veggie garden. So what I did is I quietly contacted a paintball company. And I've had what we call an in-weekend. So I said, no one's allowed to go home. And no one flipping argued or kicked up a fuss. And Friday night, we all went to a rugby fixture together. And then the Saturday was sports trials. And then on the Sunday, I woke them up early. And they didn't know, but on Saturday night would set up a paintball arena for the boys. And
At
we went
the school?
At the school.
Wow.
And we went and played paintball on the Sunday. And I said to them, so gents, I want all of you to understand that as a house, you've made this possible, and explained that the recycling we're doing. So instead of waking up early to write pages, I would make them recycle. So I told all parents in the community, drop off your recycling material at Boys High, at schoolhouse. And then my boys would sort that out in the mornings. And I would be there just, with them, sometimes helping, because you can't just talk and not act. So you actively do it with the boys. Same with the veggie garden. Go down there, feed chickens with the boys, water with the boys. My wife and kids would come down. So they established a sense of pride, and they knew that the proceeds would go to them. So I explained, you guys have actually made this weekend possible. This paintball opportunity is because you have also funded it. And then the boys just are like, flip it, this oak's in our corner. He's going to do whatever he can for us, so we're going to do whatever we can for him. And it was the best 4 years of my life running schoolhouse. Trust me, it's the best job. Can you imagine having 115 sons? So I used to say to the boys, I don't have a son. I've got 115 sons, or whatever the house number was. And then obviously in between, I've got my 3 little girls running around. But it was like when I say I love my boys, like I love those boys. I would do anything for them. And I have some like really, really good relationships that I built and established with boys, and they still talk to me. Some of them phone me, some of them WhatsApp me. So when I think of schoolhouse, I'm just like, that was the best 4 years of my life. And my wife and children, I think, enjoyed it too. I was never around, because the truth of the matter is, if you want to run a successful boarding house, you're going to work a 7-day week, and you must just accept that. So before you sign that dotted line, you must know that you're taking on the greatest responsibility, and then you must give. And if you're not prepared to give, then your house won't operate, it won't function. And I'm glad I gave as much as I did over those 4 years, because I'm rich, beyond rich, with all those memories and just happy times.
Unbelievable. To lead is to give, is to self-sacrifice for the greater good.
Yeah, so I mean, Johnny and I have discussed it, but I say the more you give, the more you have, and that's where it ends for me. Simple.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So love is a verb. It's an action word. It's not an adjective, because you can't describe it. You have to actively do things to show that you care. And I want to get into this incredible, if I had a hat, I'll tip it off and I'll keep it tipped off, challenge that you're about to undergo. Can you unpack it with us?
Yeah, this is a good one.
I think you're a little bit nuts, like a lot nuts.
You have to be a little bit nuts,
like very nuts,
Yeah.
just to even think that that's possible. But you're going to make it possible.
Yeah, we will. Definitely. I know exactly why I'm doing it, so it's easy. So it's been dubbed the Trilogy. And I think I must just go back a little bit, but not too far. So as I mentioned, 2023 was my first year as deputy. The biggest success of 2023 was this partnership with the South African Hall of Fame. I don't think it's anything the school would have fathomed doing, and so just making that a reality was, for me, massive. Like, that was probably that was what I was most proud of 2023. So coming into 2024, you're full of hope and you're pumped, like, where are we going to take this? And what had happened, or the Crow, who's my swimming partner, contacted me in November 2022. And I hadn't seen him for a couple of years. And we used to train together at Tux when I was doing triathlons. And his visit was the start of a lot of things. But he just came to catch up. And then he said to me, why don't you do a Robben Island freedom swim with me? So I said, when? He said January. So I was like, so that gives me about 7 weeks to prepare. And he's like, man, you'll be fine. And he just said that because I was not doing or pursuing my Ironman anymore. And I used to say schoolhouse was my Ironman or my triathlon. And then that was my first year in this deputy role. So I was really focusing on getting the job done. And he obviously could see it. So I said, okay, cool, let's do it. What the hell? So we signed up for the freedom swim. And
how far is the swim?
7.5 kilometers.
But it's in rough seas, shark infested seas.
Yeah, I mean, and the picture there, you see what it looked like. That was the day of the double. But look, it's cold water, it's uncomfortable, it's a fair distance, so I guess it's not easy.
With 7 weeks to prepare.
Yeah, 7 weeks to prepare, which that didn't phase me too much. So I was looking at my history of my training, and I think I did my first swim on the 22nd of November, roughly.
That's 2023.
2023, correct.
2023.
Yeah.
Okay.
So long story short, we completed the Robben Island swim, and I was like, fantastic, chuffed. And then we went back to his place and we started talking about the swim, and I was like, "Sheesh, man, I really enjoyed that. That was good. I needed that." And then it gets awkwardly quiet, and I said to him, "Listen, the Crow, I'm keen to do more. Like I think we can do more." So he's like, "What are you thinking?" So I said, "Let's do the double in March." So that's okay. So that's you go Blouberg to Robben Island back to Blouberg, and
so that's around 15 kilometers.
Yeah. So Peet's like, okay,
that's from
cool.
here to my house.
Here
It
to
takes
my
me
house.
a while to drive there.
Yeah, depending on the traffic. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And you're swimming in shark-infested cold water. Okay.
Yeah, so we signed up for that, but then what I decided to do is link that to the Sport for Lives initiative. So that's actually another thing I was proud of in 2023, is that I partnered Pretoria Boys High with Lemon Tree Kids. So Lemon Tree Kids is a non-profit for children battling osteosarcoma, and the goal there was to use sport to raise funds for Lemon Tree Kids. So I thought to kick off the 2024 campaign, I'll swim, with Peet, Blouberg, Robben Island and back. And we created a nice social media, one of these videos, and played it to the school to try and ignite the boys' passion to help others and do things for others. And I think we raised 32,000 Rand with that swim and kickstarted the initiative. Finished the swim, which was one hell of a swim as well, by the way. There was a lot of fog that day. The boat's GPS packed up, so a 15-kilometer swim became a 19-kilometer swim. So it was longer than anticipated, and we got through it together. And swimming, there's something spiritual about swimming. Let me tell you that. I had a very close relationship with my grandmother, and things went a bit pear-shaped, and Peet started to sort of become a little bit cold, and he was struggling. And, you start to sort of worry about your partner. And then I could hear my grandmother singing to me. I know it sounds crazy, but it did. And it was like this calming effect. And I just looked at Peet and I was like, I knew we were going to be fine. And we did. We got through the swim, and it was like, it was a very, very, it was a heavy moment for me. I quite emotional while I was swimming. I was like, I can hear my grandmother singing to me as if she's right there. And finished the swim. Went back to Peet's place again. We sat there and we spent a day afterwards. And the next morning we went out for breakfast, and we were sitting at the breakfast table, and his wife left the table. And I said to him, "There's more. We can do more." And he was like, "What do you think now?" And so we started talking about ideas and concepts. And then we thought, well, let's speak to Derek Fraser, who's the captain of our project, and asked him, what are ridiculous swims that could be done here in South Africa? And so he said, well, we could start with False Bay, which is the Everest of Cape crossings. So I thought, all right, cool, that's a 33-kilometer swim. And then he said, then you could do Robben Island to Dustin Island. It's only been done as a 4-man relay. And then you could do the False Bay double, hence the trilogy.
I don't understand what a 4-man relay means.
Okay, so
does it mean one jumps in, climbs out, the second jumps
Correct.
in? Is that what it means?
Yeah.
How far is the distance?
So that Robben to Dustin Island distance is 53 kilometers, and they did it as 4 gents. It's actually just 4 ladies.
53 divided by 4.
Exactly.
Each swam.
You swim for 2 hours, and you get out, you feed, you recover, and then you go again.
And you had an idea to do what?
So we are doing that as a solo. So we're both going to actually swim 53 kilometers, but in tandem, so we're there for one another in the water, supposedly. So Derek,
Hold on.
Yeah, hold
Sorry.
on. Okay, go for it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So the only time that it's been done is a
four-man
relay.
Correct.
Swim 2 hours, climb out, feed, recover, rest. 2 hours later, or
So
it will be 6 hours later, jump in again, and then
go
until we're done.
Until we're done. Yeah.
Okay. You guys are just swimming the entire distance.
Yes, that's what we're going to do. We'll swim the entire distance. Yeah.
That's unreal.
But let me, I'll get to to it now. I'll continue explaining everything. So we came up with a concept. Then I thought, I'm going to go to the South African Hall of Fame, prepared a little spreadsheet and said, we've been swimming for these other non-profits, because there was another one that we did, and I said, what if, and I said, we swim for the boys that are at Pretoria Boys High School, and, you know, I want to contribute to what we are looking to achieve. It's simple. What's happening between Pretoria Boys High and the South African Hall of Fame is the greatest thing to happen in education. And if you don't want to get involved, you're missing out on an opportunity. It's as simple as that. And so sitting where I am, you know, in my office there and looking at things, I'm like, Christopher, you've got to do more, my boy. Like, fucking think, suck it up and make something happen. And then, you know, this just, the penny dropped. And then, you know, Johnny and his team said, cool, we'll get behind the trilogy. And do you know what it's like to work and see the boys that you are doing something like the trilogy? If that doesn't get you hard, as I say, or inspire you, then you've got something wrong with you. To see them in the corridor, to have them shake your hand, and you're like, yeah, okay, you know, for this chap. I mean, some Piwe phoned me 2 days before we did the false bay crossing, a video call, just to wish me all the best. He's in grade 7 at a primary school. He's not even at Boys High yet. And I was like, you got it, buddy. I want to drill this thing for you. Simple. And he's like, yeah, you must stay hard. And I was like, I'll stay hard, chap. Don't you worry. And so, you know, we built these 3 swims. We're doing it for the boys. But I was also thinking, how else can I help contribute in showing old boys what they can be doing for the school? How else can we highlight this project and show just how unique and special it is and what it means and how it's going to uplift and change hundreds of thousands of people's lives? And so it's not difficult to wake up every morning at 10 to 4 and go and swim for an hour and a half or hour 45 before work. Yeah, look, maybe for some. For me, it's just like, I don't know how to explain it to you. It's quite simple. I just know that it has to be done, and I know why I'm doing it. That for me is not difficult. Training again in the afternoons and then gymming in the evenings or whatever the case is, that's what you've signed up for. So, you know, suck it up and keep going. That's where we're at. Yeah.
I think for me, just you has a big enough why
Yes.
can be with anyhow. So if the why is big enough, I always say to people, if I have to ask you to give me 10 million rand in 10 days, are you going to do it? I said, I don't have that money. I said, I need 10 million rand in 10 days, otherwise one of your children will pass away. Will you then get it?
Done.
Definitely.
Done.
So how big is the why? And I think you've got to explain the first swim that's been done, how long that took. I think for Bobby to understand the magnitude of what's happening, and how long the second swim is going to take, and how long the third swim is going to take.
Let's unpack it. It's exciting.
Okay. So, yeah, the way everything happened with the first swim, it was absolute carnage, is how I can sum it up. It's like end of the year. It was November the 22nd that we swam. Flew to Cape Town on the Wednesday.
That's 2024.
Yeah.
2024.
Yeah,
A couple of months ago.
Yeah, so I met you shortly after that.
Okay.
But that week, like, if everything could go wrong, it went wrong. So we went away for an exec planning, and there'd been a bit of a bug going around, and I pick up this bug. So the Wednesday night, I start vomiting. This is now the week before I flew to Cape Town. So I was vomiting, and I thought, geez, like, this is unfortunate. And then I just went and lay in the shower, and I was unfortunately vomiting all night. So I phoned my father and I said, hey, D-Rock, you got to come fetch me. And he came to fetch me at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I went to my folks' place on the Thursday and sort of spent the day trying to recover, but still really struggling with vomiting. Friday still. Saturday it switched to the diarrhea, unfortunately, over the Saturday and the Sunday. So it had been a rough couple of days.
Jeez.
And then Monday morning I wake up.
Zero energy, eh?
You do have zero energy, yeah. But there's a lot of other stuff going on in the background, which we don't need to discuss right now. But then on the Monday, there's a message on the Trilogy group, and Derek says the window's open for this Friday. So I was like, cool, we're doing it. My wife looks at me like there's something wrong, and she's, you're not doing it. You've been, vomiting
You're
and diarrhea.
ill.
So I said to her, listen to me, love. Right now, we need hope more than ever. I said, after everything that's gone on over the last couple of weeks, I said, the school needs this, the Hall of Fame needs this, I'm doing it. she, I think, thought I was joking, and she should have left the house. And then I sent her a screenshot of the air ticket that was booked to fly on the Wednesday. And when I got no response, that's when I knew. And so she came home, and it was eerily quiet at home, you know. And that's it. I've made up my mind. I'm going to do it. So, you know, no one's going to stop me, unfortunately. And then sort of left the house on Wednesday morning, said goodbye to the girls. And so this journey of the first swim of the trilogy started. Arrived in Cape Town, usual, stop in at the shops, get a couple of basics, go to Peet's house in Stellenbosch, have our traditional spaghetti bolognese supper on the Wednesday night. And then Thursday, you know, he started to go to work, so we sort of planned the day. And Peet's wife, 16 weeks pregnant as well. They had a scan that morning, so I was like a little bit nervous about that. And then Peet sort of phoned me at 11 o'clock, said, "Scan's great." I was like, fantastic. That's, you know, another, like a positive. Like, let's go. Then made my way to his office, collected some of his things, and then I drove to Simonstown on my own. He was coming through a bit later. Then Kunsi arrived that evening on the Thursday. And just basically got everything ready for the swim, and your wetsuit's out, your goggles are out, you got sort of your nutrition sorted, and, you know, you try and go to bed. You can't sleep.
Can we get into the nutrition, please? What sort of calorie intake do you? Because I mean, you're gonna be drained.
So we you have a couple of nice little things like treats, like little soft wine gums that we have as little spoils that you hope to get somewhere along the line. But generally, we're just taking in pure carbs in the form of maltodextrin, and you add rooibos tea to that, you know, to sort of give it a different flavor. Honey as well. And then Energade, so you'll mix Energade concentrate with the maltodextrin as well, and then sometimes it's just water. But you feed every 30 minutes. Okay. So every 30 minutes you're going to consume hopefully 90 grams of carbs.
And that's the day before.
This is sorry. That's whilst you're swimming.
Okay.
So whilst you're swimming, you feed every 30 minutes.
Okay.
If you want to talk about what we ate the day before, we ate baked potatoes. We had ribeye steak. Probably not the best choice. The morning of the swim, we had I had an omelette with like probably 4 or 5 eggs, handful of cheese, fruit salad, and I ate some oats as well.
Okay.
I think Peet and I are a little bit different in our approach to nutrition. And then on the swim, you both consume the same.
Okay.
I might just have different treats to Peet.
And every 30 minutes you feed?
Every 30 minutes you feed in the water.
How does that work?
Yeah, so so what happens is you've got your crew on the boat, and they are monitoring you. They're running the clock, and after 30 minutes, they'll just signal to you that you can come and, take something in.
Yeah.
Then you swim to the boat. You're not allowed to touch the boat, so you just tread water. They'll hang the bottle over the boat. You grab the bottle. You sort of just lie back, and you take in your carb.
You're not allowed to touch the boat.
No touching of the boat. Touch the boat, swim's done.
Got you.
Okay. Yeah.
That's incredible. Okay. So
you want to go back to the night before, the Thursday night of the crossing?
Yes.
So Peet and I shared a room. Peet can't handle me rolling around. He's like, "Are you ever going to stop moving around, rat mouth?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And then he put his earphones in for white noise or whatever, and my mind is just literally racing. It was killing me because there's a bit of doubt, and you think about how you've been unwell the last couple of days, and then getting up, walking around the house, getting back into bed, and then it's sort of 4:30. I thought, stuff this, just get up. Let's just start the day. And then I went through to where all my stuff was laid out, and I started to pray. I just asked, for I said, we're doing this for other boys. We're doing this for, Pretoria Boys High School, for the South African Hall of Fame. Just give me whatever I need to make sure that we're successful, please. And then I took my Bible out, opened it, and I was sort of just like from the back, and I just stopped and I put it down. And I thought, okay, let's see what God has in store for us. And I put my finger on the Bible, and there was Luke 9. And it just speaks about God's disciples doing God's work, and you need not carry anything with you because God is with you. So I got goosebumps, and I was like, all right, so today God is with me, and that's all I need, 100%. So we don't even need to pack the nutrition. So Kunsi came through, and he was like, "Hey, what are you doing, Bones?" And I said, "No, I'm just reading the Bible." He's like, "Yeah, what does it say?" And I was like, "No, God's with us." And he was like, "Great." And off we went.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and then we made our way to the swim start, and this is where it's nuts. man, it couldn't have been worse. We started swimming, and within 45 minutes, I'm vomiting. And I was like, oh my gosh, like a bit premature, you know. I was hoping maybe
you hadn't
later.
been vomiting for a couple of
No, I hadn't
days
been
now, so
vomiting,
you
So I
still.
thought I was fine. Bobby. I thought I was strong and ready for action. So I started vomiting, and it's like it's hectic vomiting. It's not just a little bit. And I thought, okay, well, there goes last night's steak, you know, and you carry on swimming, and there's the baked potato. And then you're getting to the...
And there's always, what do you call it, corn, eh? Even though you didn't eat corn, there's always corn.
Yeah. You don't even have to eat it.
Yes, it's there.
Yeah. And vomiting in itself is unpleasant, but now when you're in the water, it's quite complicated because you've got nothing to hold on to, and you're just sort of floating around struggling. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it won't last too long. And so get to the first feed, and I try to take in some carb mix or whatever. Literally it goes in, and I'm just all coming out. And then it's the fruit salad and the jungle oats and the eggs, and I vomited for 5 hours.
5 hours
was,
while swimming.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. I was chumming. I was chumming those waters. So eventually the vomiting stopped, but like while I was swimming, you know, you start thinking like, geez, okay, why is this happening? You know, why today? And then I said, oh, well, I guess, you know, God, you've got a twisted sense of humor. You said, I don't need to carry any extra provision. So I was like, all right, so if I'm David and False Bay is Goliath, let's do this thing. You know, so I started chuckling in the water, because what else can you do? Because if you go down that rabbit hole, it's not going to end well. So I just sort of embraced the fact that things had gone pear-shaped, but also just reminding myself it's going to be okay. You've read something hell of encouraging, and you've also got the why, as Johnny speaks, and that just sort of that invigorates me. And also like haters, I love haters, and then you just start thinking of, you know, all the haters as well. Man, that gets me really fired up. So I was actually okay with what was going on. And then I think we got to about 6.5 hours actually, and I said, grapes, because I bought a punnet of grapes, and there's a calling for, or an urge or a feeling that it's just like grapes. Sure, and the grape, I'm like, it stayed down. I'm like, hey, couldn't see the grapes are working, so give me some more grapes. So
and
grapes,
that's good
grapes.
sugar. It's got.
Look, I think sometimes your body it craves what it needs, and for some reason, grapes worked. So I smashed grapes, and then I started taking in some carb mix, and then I literally just got stronger and stronger as the swim progressed.
Wow.
And we swam for 14 hours. The sun set, and this is also like where multiple things happen, but that sun set, and then when your arm strikes the water, the bioluminescence, it breaks off your body. It can't be explained, and so it's like it invigorates you. And it was just beautiful, and you just feel energized. And whilst that's happening, you know, you're looking at the stars. It's incredible. And then your mind just goes from, you know, you saw and you're tired and all that, but I thought, hell, this is living, man, because you look around at where you are, and I'm like, what a privilege to be in False Bay and experiencing all of this. And then again, my grandmother comes up. Her and I had when I was little, she'd always, if she phoned me, and she'd be like, oh, the dolphins are swimming past, you know. And I was obsessed with dolphins as a lighty. And she'd always update me on the dolphin activity, because she stayed at Sheffield Beach, and they had a great spot with a wonderful view. And so I'm swimming, or we are swimming, and next thing a pod of dolphins joined us. Yeah. But they didn't swim with us for a minute. They swam with us for ages. And Piet had taken a little bit of a dip, but again, saw the dolphins, and they're literally going right under. You can like touch them. They're right there, and they're messing around, and they're having a whale of a time. Wrong expression, possibly, for dolphins. But I just was like, we're going to be okay, because I'm like, oh, Nana's here. And your mind will go to places, and it'll do things to help you get through tough times. And I was like, I know we're going to be fine. It was just like that double where I heard my grandmother singing to me. Now the dolphins are there. I could feel her presence. And I was like, we're going to smash this thing.
Sweet, let's go.
Yeah, and then and we did. We finished it, which was a hilarious story as well, because some of the residents on the beach thought that we were crayfish poachers, and so Derek is signaling to them from his boat, and Piet's wife is signaling back to him, so you can see this lights are flashing at one another. unbeknown to them, there are 2 swimmers in the water. And then Martin researchers explained to them that my husband and his friend have swum from Simonstown, and they're like, not a sausage. And then, of course, we made our way eventually to where she was, and that family opened their arms, and into their house we went and showered and offered us tea, and got an opportunity to tell them about what we're doing and why we're doing, and they were blown away. So it was just amazing how we went from crayfish poachers to, hey, pull in and you can do whatever you want here. But yeah, that swim was grueling, as I said. It was tough, lots of lessons learned, spiritual growth. Again, you just realize how much more you can push yourself once you sort your mind out. Then if you can convince your body that it's going to be okay.
That's incredible.
Okay. Yeah.
How long in total was the swim?
So
the first one.
The first one was 33 kilometers, 14 hours of swimming. Yeah. It's a long day in the water. Incredible. Yeah.
Second one, third one.
Yeah, so the second one's 53 kilometers. And look, Bobby, it's going to be, we say 24 hours, but I think it will take longer.
Longer than 24 hours.
Anything under that will be a bonus. But mentally, my headspace at the moment is just, bone machine, be ready to swim for 24 plus. Yeah.
And when is the second swim taking place?
So our window opens the 31st of March. And so any time from 31st of March until we get that call to say there's an opportunity for you guys to swim.
How long before the swim do you know that,
day.
Is it one day?
No. So the heads up, we hope to receive three days notice.
3 days
that would be
notice.
great. Yeah.
So, but from the 31st, you are ready to roll. You're literally waiting for that phone call and then off you go.
Correct.
50.
How long is the third swim going to be?
Third swim is 66 kilometers. So that's False Bay twice. So the first time around it took us 14 hours. There's no ways you're going to swim at that pace, back to back. So that would be, in my opinion, 35 hours.
When is that swim planned?
So we need to complete the second swim with the trilogy to do the third swim. I reckon we'll wrap up the second swim now in April. And then your window opens again for your False Bay crossing sort of October, November, December, January.
Gotcha.
So we'll train for the rest of this year and then go and do the double towards the end of the year.
How do you train for a 24-hour swim?
Yeah.
Because that's the second one. What's your regiment? How many? My wife's a swimmer. She swims 1.5 kilometers a day, every day. She doesn't skip.
Yeah.
What sort of?
So there's been a combination. Obviously, we built a training program for me to swim in the pool and train in the pool.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, we've had training camps. So like a Robben Island crossing it's a training swim. A Robben Island double is a training swim. This all preps you for what you ultimately are wanting to accomplish. Then we went for it. We had a training camp in June, July holiday last year. We did a 24-kilometer swim. I don't know why, Bobby, but every time we have a training camp in Langebaan, it coincides with the worst weather in South Africa. So it's cold front, it's raining, it's winding, it's windy, it's everything. So we did that 24-kilometer swim. That day the water was very cold. It was a very challenging training swim. So we did that last year, June, July. Then we had another training camp last year, a couple of weeks before the False Bay crossing, and that was a 4-day training camp. And the idea was to sort of do 15-kilometer swims 4 days in a row, but it was when we had that hectic cold front.
Yes.
So water temperatures dropped, and so you're permanently adapting what the training camp was potentially going to be to what it ultimately becomes. That first swim we did, I vomited, funny enough, quite a bit, struggling with a bit of seasickness because it was windy and choppy, etc. I then went to the hospital and I had a drip administered, and then swam the next 2 swims, and we did a 16K, I think back-to-back 16K swims. So that training camp was successful, one because I learned how to swim whilst vomiting, which came in handy when we swam across False Bay, and then recovered well enough to get 2 more swims in. Peet swam 4 days in a row. I did day 1, day 3, and day 4. What is, you're now grateful for these terrible weather conditions because it preps you for the worst.
Yes.
We then just had our last training camp now in preparation for this Robben to Dussin Island swim, knowing that you've crossed False Bay. That's also a huge training block. We were in Langebaan 2 weekends ago, and we did a 28K on the Saturday. again, the weather was pretty torrid, 50-kilometer winds. The water sort of varied between 10 and 13 degrees, so it's nice and cold.
Wow, that's very cold.
Yeah, and we managed to swim for just over 10 hours on the Saturday, and then Sunday morning we woke up early and we did an 8-kilometer swim as well. First 4Ks was us just loosening up, and then we actually joined an open water race that was taking place in Langebaan. So we missed the start by probably a good 5 or 6 minutes, and then we sort of made our way hunting through the pack. So, I mean, that was 36 kilometers of swimming, from the Saturday. We started swimming at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then Sunday morning we were hitting the road back to the airport at 11:30, and then caught the flight home, and then you're back to work on Monday. So like action-packed weekend.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So I think back to your original statement, if your why is big enough and you do the right thing over a long period of time, the right people show up, they see what you've done, and they sort of give you a springboard to go and a megaphone, and hopefully we can do that for you successfully, a megaphone to just relay your message and how powerful your message actually is. One thing that I caught when you were describing the culture, I'm always learning from sales leaders. You're a sales leader. You are so passionate about the boys. You described the method you used, but you still maintain your IP. You gave me very little, but just enough, where the boys will be like, our leader didn't share our secrets. Well done to that. I caught that. I don't know if you intended to do it that way. I think you did, but well done to that. I wanted to get into the secrets, like how do we greet? You gave me just a little. Stay hard.
Stay hard.
So
exactly.
Congrats on that. I'm not gonna poke anymore. I respect that.
Okay.
That's very cool what you did.
Yeah.
So this is a big one.
Mm.
Hopefully April in the water, we do the swim, we're successful. The intent, once again, goes back to the boys. We need to raise money to have more scholarships for kids to come, and just give us some of the pupils that have graduated from Pretoria Boys High School.
Past pupils. So we have John Smith. So that's your 2007 Rugby World Cup captain. We have Elon Musk. We've got Aiden Markram. So that's your Protea captain. Donovan Ferreira, Corbin Bosch. I'm naming sportsmen. There's a guy called the Bone Machine. He's also quite a decent chap. My three brothers. No, look, there are a lot of fantastic men that Pretoria Boys High has produced, and I mean Johnny spoke about Springbok husbands. Yeah. So if I just look at what our boys learn and what they're exposed to at Pretoria Boys High, there's so many different cultures, boys from all walks of life, and that was a big reason my father sent us to Pretoria Boys High. And he's a wise man. He was, he hit the nail on the head. And, I see it because I live it every day. Teaching the boys, engaging with the boys, you see how it teaches them to understand boys from different backgrounds and to work together. So yeah, we have the stalwarts that we've mentioned, but I would say every year, you've got 300 good human beings matriculating and entering,
positive to society.
Exactly.
So what does it cost?
What does it cost?
Because that's the reality.
Yeah. So your day scholars are paying 77,000 rand a year, and then your borders are north of 180.
So we need the funds.
Yeah. So
I think it's much more than that. We've got to remember that these boys. So we go through extreme screening evaluation process. We look at the financial backgrounds and we look at a lot of things for these talented kids. Most of these kids have got nothing. So we're talking school fees or boarding fees as one small segment. Medical expenses, sport apparel, holistic development. It's extremely difficult. I can tell you we in for budget for more than 6 million rand this year, which is a lot of money.
Yes.
And I've sat with the CEO of a large company and he said to me, is that even possible? And I said, you take out your calculator. Let's go look at Tox, spikes, sport apparel, medical expenses, holistic development, extra tutorship, school fees, boarding school. Some of these kids go, when they go home on holidays, we buying groceries for the home because there's nothing. So it's a lot of money. That's the reality of this. And for us, it's all about, it's much more than just education. Because the biggest problem I've got, and we're working with sport legends in this country every day, and if I have to ask a sport legend, tell me who you are, the answer is easy. I played 50 tests for the Springboks. My wife is a CA and I've got 3 daughters. I didn't ask you what you were doing. Tell me who you are. People do not know who they are. They don't know. If you ask 10 people who they are, they won't be able to tell you. And that's where we focus on, where we say character supersedes talent, first and foremost. And that's why we chose Boys High. Great culture, great traditions. And we, additionally from the academic curriculum, my wife's doing a PhD in play therapy. We teach these kids who they are, because if you don't understand who you are, how are you ever going to do what God's intended for you to do? You've got to understand your makeup holistically. And it's expensive. Any kid, it's expensive. If you want to give them the best opportunity to reach their full potential.
Beautiful. You've inspired. I'm fired up. I can barely swim. I want to be there in the water with you, just waving the flag behind you. Let's freaking go. Let's light it up. How do people that are going to see this episode, how do they get involved? What's the best way to get involved? And how do people support you from the outside and cheer you on? First of all, how do they do that? And how do they open up their hearts and say, I believe in you. I believe in your cause. I know the money is not going to be wasted because we've got proven credibility. I've got 50 Rand to give you. I've got 500 Rand to give you. I've got 5,000 Rand to give you.
Yeah, look, I mean, we've got our website, the South African Hall of Fame. It's www.southafricanhallofame.co.za. We're on Facebook. We've got the Facebook page, Hall of Fame, and then we've got the Trilogy. So the nice thing on our website, there's a button where if you want to donate, you just press on the button and you can donate. And then we've got really smart BE specialists that if you're a corporate company, you can call us and we'll come sit with you and we'll explain to you how best, there's from learnerships to SED to CSI to BE. There's a lot of segments and we tailor-make, according to governance, we tailor-make a package for you. So
beautiful.
For me, it's stop seeing this as a grudge point, seeing it as an opportunity to make a difference. And people can contact me direct as well, should they want to. I mean, my number is 082 909 2603. I really don't mind. People can contact.
From our side, from our company, we already spoke about it. Me and Elsie are fully committed to this cause. We will be there with you on your swim. We'd love to have the same sort of heads up when you say it's on this and this date. We'll fly out with you. We'll cover it. We'll cover it as much as possible.
Thank you.
Organically, we had our best weekend ever. We did 1.5 million organic views this past weekend on our content. So we'll give you our best. We'll make sure that the megaphone that we've built is set on 10 out of 10, and we'll be there holding that flag very high, promoting your cause. I am absolutely inspired by you. Really am.
Appreciate
And
it.
from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you and Elsie. I tend to think I'm a good judge of character. And I've seen right into your heart. I've seen who you are. I see that you're extremely humble.
Appreciate
you're
you,
a
sir.
servant of God. And things will go well with you just because of who you are. Thank you for that. We
Appreciate you,
it.
sir. Thank you so much. I am so excited. I'm not even joking. Just to be a part of this amazing journey. You've already changed the lives of so many boys and girls, and you're just getting started. The fire is really there, and I'm honored to know you. Honored to know you as well, sir. Thank you for spending time with us, sharing your story, and let's go and kick ass with this trilogy.
Agreed. Yeah. Thank you, Bobby.
appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed the time. I don't know how long we've sat, but it felt like 2 minutes. It went by so quickly. Thank you very much, guys. All the details will be at the bottom of this video. We're going to have many shorts of this interview, and we'll make sure that all the details and the contact numbers are on each and every short video that we cut out of this. Thank you. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers.